Welcome to this week's lesson segment on Weekly Outdoor Plus, brought to you by Barbershop, 2400 Church Street, Stevens Point, where they have the most wide variety of vacuums, sewing machines, and parts you could need, and great service to go along with it. So get your notebooks and pencils out, because it's time for your lesson segment with myself, Jase Hintz, and Weekly Outdoor Plus. Hey guys, welcome to this week's lesson segment on Weekly Outdoor Plus. Jase Hintz here with you again. If you can recall from last week, we went over a lot of short-range shots, like basically 15 yards and in. This week I'm going to talk with you about mid-range to long-range shots and the difference in how you approach the shot and different ways to get better at it. And a lot of it's going to actually be like other things I already talked about, but how it all ties together and making these shots execute all together at once. So first off, mid-range shots is going to be like what most people are hunting and are going to be able to get when they're hunting, and what the what you're going for. You want to get them within that 20 to 30 maybe yard range, somewhere in there. The biggest thing a lot of people do with that is, if you have a fast bow especially, you have your multi-pins, you got 20, 30, 40 yards. The big problem with that is your 20 and 30 are so close together, you have a hard time seeing between them even. So I mean, if you have that problem, don't be afraid to space them out a little bit more and practice gap shooting a little bit if you need to. Like what I do is I set mine for 20 and then 35 and then 45, so just so I can get farther out, because it starts, that's where your arrow starts dropping off a little bit more. Another big key is, people will see that deer, 20 and 30 yards, even like I got my bear tag this year. That's gonna be a big animal at that, range right there. You gotta make sure that you pick out a spot, all right? Too many people, if you're shooting at a buck, are looking at the horns while they're pulling back. That's not right. You gotta pick that little piece of fur that's screwed up, or, right, find the shoulder blade, find the, any texture you can find to aim off of, and practice shooting at different things like that. Don't always shoot at your, black target with the big white spots. Make sure you're shooting at different targets where you can aim off of something, Shoot at, the little O in the target and see if you can hit the right side of it, Aim off of different things, because most of the time you don't have something to aim directly at, and aiming off of it is a whole new skill in archery, especially when it comes, 3D tournaments are really good for learning that, because most of the time the holes that you see in the targets aren't exactly where you want them to be, so you need to aim a little bit off so you're aiming in the dead center. So if you do have a little mishap in your shot, you're still going to hit what you're aiming at, to hit the edges instead of missing it. So basically on those close range shots, make sure you pick a spot is the biggest thing I can say. The next thing I'm going to be talking to you about is how to get better at those shots, and it's simply taking longer shots. You shoot in your backyard, you're really good at 20 yards, try to get really good at 30 yards. If you're really good at 30 yards, you're still going to be good at 20 yards. All right, so the big thing here is the farther you go, you can start playing with things to make it so you are more accurate as well. This is where your walk back tuning, like I talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago here. Your group tuning is another really big one. Just shoot a bunch of arrows and turn your pounds on your bows up, 2 pounds. See if your groups get tighter or bigger, because that right there is going to just be playing with the flex of your arrow, and it'll make you shoot a lot more accurate by getting the correct flex of your arrow out of your bow. You want it to flex a little bit, but you don't want it to be too stiff where it's not flexing at all, and you don't want it bending like a noodle, because again, none of those are good. You got to find the happy medium, and that's what your group tuning will do. You do that at a longer distance where you can obviously see your group pattern get bigger and smaller too. Definitely will help you out. If you're hunting with a really, really big peep sight too, it's nice because it lets a lot of light in. That's one thing, you don't want to give up too much, but the bigger the peep sight, the harder it is to make sure you're dead center on it every single time. Try to get a peep sight that's like the same size of your housing that's on your pins, or same as your, whatever kind of housings around your pins, or same size as something you're really used to. The smaller, the actually more accurate you're going to get to a certain point as well. So if you have a monster peep sight, or even one of those string splitters, or you're not using a peep sight, that's one thing. The farther you go, the by far more accurate you're going to be. Like I have a lot, my groups get bigger definitely when I shoot my hunting bow compared to my target bow, but that's not, my hunting bow is one of my target bows, so it's not the bow, it's the setup, and it's not because I have bad arrows or anything, it's because my peep sight's a lot bigger. Another thing too, shooting at any distance, the size of your pin is a crucial point. A lot of people shoot where they have the brightest sights out there. Well, the brightest they are, the bigger your dot gets. All right, like HHA is one of my favorite sights. Great sight. They do have very bright pins. They have covers for those, so you can make them a little dimmer. You're hunting on a nice sunny day like today, you're gonna have a hard time getting a good shot if it's that bright. So that's where you have that little cover. You can cover it up. That's what it's made for. Very beneficial, so you can aim smaller is all it is. You don't want to be aiming with a basketball if you can aim with a baseball, a lot smaller, a lot better. So one thing too, check out your pin size. A lot of them you can get in smaller pins. So try those different things out. If you have any questions, don't be afraid. Again, call Bucks and Bulls. We can help you out. And check this out online if you have any other questions or you want to see it again. And as always, I'll see you guys next week.